In crypto, speed matters, but trust matters more. At Caleb and Brown, you're never on your own. We connect you with your own personal broker and a 24/7 team, ready to help you buy, sell, or swap over 250 digital assets with one flat, transparent fee. No spreads, no slippage, no hidden costs. Get the best market prices through deep, aggregated liquidity executed by our professional trading desk. Your funds are secured with institutional-grade cold storage for total peace of mind. Track every move in real time with our intuitive client portal, anywhere, anytime. Whether you're trading as an individual, trust, or business, we give you speed, security, and peace of mind. Thousands of clients in over 100 countries already trust Caleb and Brown. Visit calebandbrown.com and start your personalized crypto journey today.
Welcome back to another episode of the Blockchain Brew Show. If you're joining us, hit the like button, smash the like button rather. Don't just hit it like you mean it. And subscribe to the channel to join the Brew Crew, the most hydrated crypto community on YouTube. And make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any content. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and turn the music down just a hair. And the first thing that I want to look at today with the news is the PCE inflation data. Let me make sure I have it on the screen for you. Man, it's been a wild dump today, you know. I've been monitoring it all day, and we're definitely going to dive into it and unpack a little bit of what I believe is going on. And if there's anybody that tunes in today that I can help relax a little bit about the market, then it's a successful morning, right? So US core PCE holds at 2.9% in July, and this matches forecasts. Core PCE inflation rose to 2.9% in July, up from June's 2.8%, meeting forecasts. Consumer spending grew 0.5%, while personal income increased 0.4%, both aligning with market expectations. Markets anticipate a Fed rate cut in September as inflation holds above the 2% target. Core inflation in the United States rose to 2.9% in July, according to the Commerce Department. The figure matched forecasts and was slightly higher than June's 2.8%. Inflation stays above Fed target. The core personal consumption expenditures price index, which includes food and energy, is the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge. July's 2.9% reading remains above the Fed's 2% goal, keeping inflationary pressures in focus. On a monthly basis, core PCE index increased 0.3%. The broader PCE index, which includes food and energy, climbed 2.6% over the year and 0.2% from the previous month. Energy prices fell 2.7% from a year earlier, while food prices were up 1.9%. Service prices rose 3.6% annually, compared with a 0.5% increase for goods. Spending and income growth. Consumer spending rose 0.5% in July, meeting expectations and showing continued resilience. Personal income increased 0.4%, also in line with forecasts. On a monthly breakdown, energy costs dropped 1.1% and food slipped 0.1%. Service prices gained 0.3%, offsetting a 0.1% decline in goods. So all you have to do is join our Discord, link in the description, and Muffhead will show you himself in the Discord why these inflation numbers are BS, right? I believe his quote, what he wrote in the Discord was, this is a loose quote, but something to the effect of, they focus on things like toothpaste and grapes, when I would rather them focus on the inflation in the housing market, health insurance, new cars, etc. I mean, how often do you buy a new tube of toothpaste? And do you really care that much about the inflation cost on your toothpaste if it's up, a couple percent? But if healthcare costs are up 5.9%, you kind of care a little bit about that, right? So there you go. Let's see here. All right, the end of the article here. Fed policy and market outlook. The Federal Reserve targets 2% inflation as part of its long-term mandate. Core PCE is viewed as a better guide than the headline measure because it strips out volatile items. Market expectations point to another interest rate cut when the Fed meets next month. Fed Governor Christopher Waller said he would consider a larger move if labor market data weakens further. Ellen Zenter, chief economic strategist at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, said today's inline PCE price index will keep the focus on the jobs market. For now, the odds still favor a September rate cut. Now, one Fed governor, I forget which one it was exactly, but someone from the Fed came out and said, I actually saw this on Lifer's stream this morning, so shout out to him. But, one person from the Fed actually said that the Fed is really behind with cutting rates. And, the odds of I think it was 50 basis point drop by October, the odds are 50-50 on that. And that could happen one of two ways. I mean, it likely those odds are going to grow by October, and then we're going to get a subsequent rate cut in October. However, Lifer was kind of speculating a little bit, which I don't believe it's going to happen, and I don't think he said he believes it either. But what if we got a 50 basis point cut in September and it defied the market expectations and went beyond it? How bullish would that be? Unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to get that, though. So, yeah. So there you go. Morgan Stanley, chief economic strategist at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, says that today's PCE data keeps the focus on the job market. Why? Because the PCE inflation came in at expectation, right? Jerome Powell already said that they're aiming to pivot toward rate cuts, right? And that among the dual mandate to achieve price stability for all Americans, aka inflation, and to achieve maximum employment in the job market. Well, the rough data that's been coming in from the job market is what's pressuring the Fed to cut rates. I believe that the markets are pressuring the Fed to cut rates as well, even though they say that they don't take that into consideration. But psychologically, they have to, right? Like, you know, they have to. It's being thrown at them every day and put in front of their face, whether they like it or not. So, you know, the chief economic strategist at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management is telling us, look, inflation is manageable right now, right? They still want to bring it to a target of 2%, but for right now, it's manageable, and they're going to go run over here and put out the fire in the job market, or try to put it out by cutting rates for a little while. So there you have it. Morgan Stanley, chief economic strategist, telling us that for now, rate cuts are still on for September. And the Fed Watch tool is still showing that as well. Last I checked, it was like up to 89% odds of a rate cut in September. So that's still very bullish. Let's see. What else do I have for the Brew Crew today? So, guys, let's talk about this dump that's been going on. No one likes a red day. No one likes a red Friday, I don't think. You know, people want to go into their weekends with a green day, you know, retail anyways. That's just how it goes. But I want to cover some items that are kind of circulating around on X that are suggesting market manipulation on the part of Binance to bring these prices lower. Now, I do want to say, you know what? Before I head over there, I'm going to go to this tab, and look, we had $15 billion worth of options expiring today. So, guys, that's a big impact on the market. Now, is it that big? I don't believe so. Like, you know, we regularly see liquidation events of a couple $100 billion from leveraged exchanges, right? So a $15 billion options expiry, it is a lot of money, but you know, I don't think that it's as big a deal as, you know, some other mass liquidation events that we see. Now, you know, can this kind of play into a larger liquidation event? Sure. And I do think that's what we see happening. But I'm going to cover this really quickly. This post from Zinn over on that website ran by Elon Musk called X. He says, options expiry alert. $6.9 billion in Bitcoin and ETH options expire today. $5.59 billion worth of Bitcoin options with a max pain. This was in... I wondered why these numbers are off. Anyways. Okay, here's the point. I asked Grok to explain exactly how these options expiries affect the market. And Grok says options expiry in crypto like Bitcoin and ETH can influence prices as they approach the strike where most contracts expire worthless. This is max pain. By minimizing payouts. Market makers hedging large positions may sell or buy to push prices toward this point. increasing volatility. Post expiry, this pressure eases, potentially leading to rebounds or new trends based on sentiment. So, you know, for today's expiry, you know, and Grok got these numbers right, even though this post up here was old. So good for Grok. It actually didn't get the 3.5 number right for Ethereum. I had read that number, that max pain number for Ethereum was at $3,800. But anyways, Grok says, you know, for today's options expiry, Bitcoin max pain is at $116,000. What does that mean? Why is max pain for options at $116,000? Well, the reason is, let me show this other tab. The reason that max pain for Bitcoin options expiry is at 116K is because that's the level that most of these options contracts are going to expire with no profit, right? Basically, you have bulls that are betting on options. They're betting on the price of Bitcoin, aiming at 120K and 124K to be exact, I believe. And then you have a bunch of bears betting on the price of Bitcoin to be at 108K when options expire. So if the expiry comes in and the price of Bitcoin is at 116,000, then what happens is neither the bulls or the bears win, and most of the options contracts expire worthless. Your contract expires and you cannot redeem that contract for any profit. So, you know, I was reading up on a little bit on this morning, you know, on exactly how these options expiry really work. So that's why 116 would have been the point of max pain, where both the bulls and the bears would have suffered. So market makers come in, and the largest market makers out there are going to, when options expire, they're going to push the price of Bitcoin toward the direction of their bets. So in this case, we know that the largest market makers in the game had put options, which is basically a short in option speak. They had put options betting on the price of Bitcoin to be closer to $108,000 when options expire, right? So what they do is they push the price toward their bet. Options expire, now they won their bet, okay? So are they really incentivized to continue pushing that further? Well, thank you for explaining how options work. I don't normally do stocks. Don't normally do stocks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I get it. That's why I had to really kind of brush up on that this morning, and you know, it's not something that I think about much because look, it only happens 4 times a year, right? It happens quarterly. Let's see here. Guys, smash the like button if you're coming in on YouTube or over on X. And so, you know, now that the market makers, the biggest market makers in the game, have pushed the price toward their bet at 108K, options are already expired. What is incentivizing them now to push it much lower? I don't know. That's just me speaking personally, not financial advice. I just think that there was a big incentive for the largest market makers to push the price toward their bet at 108K, and now that those options have expired, I don't think that they are as incentivized to continue pushing lower. That's just me. So coming over to this tab. Now, who are these largest market makers in the game? Well, here's a little blockchain brew conspiracy segment for you today. I guess I should change the lower banner to news, crypto news. There we go. Here's a little blockchain brew conspiracy segment. So guys, who are the largest market makers in the game? Let's just entertain a little bit of X conspiracy for a second. Well, I would venture to say that Binance could perhaps be the largest market maker in all of crypto. And over here, this guy, Ted, shout out to Ted. Let's give him a follow, why not? Binance futures down, Bitcoin went up. Binance futures came back, Bitcoin went down. Coincidence? I don't think so. So here's what he's talking about. Let me check if you can see it too well on the screen. Okay. So back here on... Wow, this was actually within a half hour. That's pretty wild. That is pretty wild. Here, August 25th. August 29th, 2025. At 6:35 a.m. Has to be a.m. because we haven't had p.m. yet. 6:35 a.m. I'm going to assume that this is Eastern Standard Time. 6:35 a.m. Binance posts, we are aware of an issue affecting futures trading on Binance. All futures trading is temporarily unavailable. Our team is working to resolve this as soon as possible. New updates will be shared here. Thank you for your patience. So there you have it. At 6:35 a.m., Binance says all futures trading is temporarily unavailable. And that happened at this price level here at about, let's say a little above, right at about $111,000 for Bitcoin. Binance comes out this morning and says futures trading is temporarily unavailable. Less than a half hour later, they say the issue affecting futures trading on Binance has been resolved. All futures trading is now fully operational. So futures trading comes back online for Binance, and look what happens. It was the very top of this little bull trap right here. And I'm assuming this has got to be on like the 30-minute chart or something like that. This is on a lower time frame for sure. But look at that. It comes out at the very top of this bull trap right here. Futures trade, the issue has been resolved. All futures trading is now fully operational. Futures trading comes back online to Binance, and then we have this incredible dump. So, granted, it is just a continuation of a downtrend that was already in place. But it is really interesting that you just have a cascade of red candles once futures trading comes back online for Binance. So, was Binance suspending this trading while they sort of prepared themselves? Pepe, what's up, Pepe? John316 has been looking for you in the chat for a few days now. He was waiting for you to get in chat so he could pick another fight with you. all in good humor, of course. What happened the other day when I showed it was during the Cardano spotlight the other night, and I showed a post that that showed how like 98% of SNEC holders are all in profit. And John 316, actually, he joined us on stream that night, and he goes, "Where's Pepe at?" Man, good to see you though, Pepe. Good to see you. So, could it be that Binance actually, while futures trading was paused, that they were preparing to dump? Could it be? Well, if we scroll down, this was 5 hours ago from Ted again. No, Ted, I already followed you. I'm not going to subscribe to you and pay you money every month. However, nobody remember that I just said that once we start taking YouTube memberships. And then you're going to come back at me and say, no, Trent, I already subscribed to you. I'm not paying for a membership. So nobody remember that I just said that to Ted. Let's see. So 5 hours ago, Binance has dumped millions of ETH. Proof is all on chain. And you look at his post right here, and you see all of this dumpage going on here. All of this dumpage. All from Binance. And it all seems like it's happening, like the time frame lines up, I think. I mean, I haven't done the math exactly, but the math, the hours kind of line up to when futures trading was down on Binance. What's going on here, guys? I don't know. And then we've got Merlin, the trader. It says Binance dump alert. Massive transfers, millions in Bitcoin and ETH flooding into Wintermute, which I think is probably another, not an exchange, but maybe some kind of OCT. They're moving. It's a place that all these transfers are going to, is the point. This isn't noise. This is the whale playbook. Phase 1, panic retail out. Phase 2, accumulate the dip. Phase 3, send it vertical. You know what that means? That means you know what we're gonna get, right? I don't know exactly when we're gonna get it. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be after Labor Day. I don't know. But I do think that this means that sometime soon we're going to be getting a you know what that is, right? A bounce. It means that sometime soon I think that we have a bounce incoming. So let's see here. Phase 1, panic retail out. Phase 2, accumulate the dip. Phase 3, send it vertical. Don't get shaken out now. And here we go. We have, again, all of this dumpage going on from Binance. Guys, what is going on with Binance right now? Are they in fact manipulating the whole market? It's a serious accusation, I know, because it's an exchange. It's the biggest exchange in the world, and they have customer funds, hanging in the balance. But I don't know. Let's see here. Last one. Breaking update. Binance is still dumping Ethereum every minute. They've sold over $1 billion in Ethereum today. This is pure manipulation. And, there you see it, all the dumpage. I really do wonder if the math lines up precisely to show that that all of this ensued right when futures trading came back. Well, we don't need to do the math. We know that it ensued right when futures trading came back online for Binance. We know that because that's when the red cascade of candles came in. So yeah, we already know. Man. Well, guys, I guess there's really no way to know, but I will say this. You know, what did I just say about the options expiries? If the largest whales in the game are pushing the price, if the largest market makers in the game are pushing prices toward their bets, particularly toward their bearish bet at $108,000 for the options expiry, well, if they met their goal, you know, if they did what they were setting out to achieve, if they accomplished their goal, then is it time for them to send it back up and let it bounce? I don't know. Except that I think I might know. And that leads me to this. Share this tab instead. Come over here to the liquidation heat map. And here we are on the 1 week for this liquidation heat map. Let me see if I can expand it for you guys. Okay, so here we are down here at just above $108,000. And it looks like these last, I suppose there's these last little bits of liquidity hanging down here at $107,468. But look at all this liquidity above us. Guys, shorts are going to get wrecked at $113,100. Let me just... Some shorts are going to get wrecked at 110, 111. Some shorts are going to get wrecked at $113,000. Guys, a lot of shorts are going to get wrecked up here at $114,000. 115. The biggest, the thickest area of liquidity where shorts are going to get wrecked is up here at $117,000. Guys, where is the top of the CME gap? The CME futures gap right now is stretching from 113,000 to 117,000, and that is exactly where all of this liquidity is stacked up. In the upper end here, the thickest part of it is at 117, right where the thickest area of liquidity is coming in on the heat map. So guys, all of this data together is telling me that the largest market makers in the game had an agenda. Hey, trading is trading, right? I don't mean it's an evil agenda. I'm just saying it is what it is. The largest market makers in the game had an agenda to push prices down toward their bearish options expiry bets at $108,000. And now I believe it's time for them. I'm not saying we get the bounce today or tomorrow. I don't know. But now it's time for them to let it ride back up to come fill the CME gap at 117. And what happens after that, I don't know. What I do know is that it would further cement the hidden bullish divergence that we have coming in on the daily chart for Bitcoin. And we would, likely see a push up to $130,000 in my opinion. So I think that what's clear from all of this data is that the largest market makers in the game had an agenda to push the prices down toward their bets for the options expiry at $108,000, and now it's time for them to let the prices ride back up. Binance had something to do with this when futures trading was paused for a half hour in the middle of the night, at least for Western markets in the middle of the night. Binance had something to do with this. It smells like manipulation to me. Granted, I don't have the greatest sense of smell, but I digress. Now, what now? So, the only thing left to do from here is to do a little bit of Bitcoin charting. Okay, so let's come over here to trading view and daily chart. So we still have, you know what, I'm actually gonna go to our Discord real quick. I'll share this tab instead. So guys, I already kind of went over this, but here's the summary that I put out this morning on Discord. I said, add everyone, keeping an eye on this dump all morning. Here are my takeaways so far. Let me make sure I'm on the screen. Okay, here are my takeaways so far. I'll expand this for you. This liquidation heat map is showing very thin liquidity below price action, with a whole lot of liquidity stacked above price action. The largest area coming in at $117,000, which is also the top of the CME gap. Stochastic RSI is extremely oversold on the 4-hour, literally near zero. Hidden bullish divergence is still intact on the daily. Ethereum generally looks strong here to me. Sorry, Shadow, I saw that it touched your 30 EMA you were talking about on the stream last night. 5, here is some evidence of Binance manipulation to forcibly grab whatever liquidity they can at these levels. And I covered all that down here below. So, guys, there's that. Join the Discord for free. Link in the description. When we do hit 500 subscribers, this Discord is going to cost $10 a month to get in. The reason for that, I'll just show you some of the VIP signals here live, right? By signing up for BYDFi, creating an account with our link on our exchange partner of choice, BYDFi, you sign up, you deposit $100 into your futures account, you verify your user ID right here in the Discord, and it gives you access to all of these scalp signals, all of these scalp trading signals that the bot is aggregating from top ROI traders on BYDFi, and it's pumping it out to the brew crew in the Discord. And it's giving you all of these scalp signals. And look what it does. It gives you the position, long or short. It gives you an area to enter. It gives you a stop loss, and it gives you a take profit. Sometimes, they're all different. Sometimes it gives you the entry, the stop loss, and then like 5 or 6 take profit levels, which is nice. Sometimes it even, I gotta find one. Sometimes it even tells you how much leverage to go in on. Like up here, use 3x leverage, gives you an entry zone, gives you targets and a stop loss. So all of these scalp signals, you get the same thing on swing trading signals. Right, here's all the signals. And it does this every day. And then it gives you a market analysis. This is my favorite one. Today's market analysis, now the market analysis is not always a trade setup, okay? Sometimes it's just a macro, like this right here, Bitcoin versus Ethereum liquidity shift, right? Bitcoin, actually, where was that day that it showed that wick before it happened? Anyways. Today's market analysis, it's a long position on Doge with an entry somewhere right around 20 cents flat is where it wants your entry. We already kind of missed that actually, because this came in yesterday at 10:30 p.m. We saw the price go down to the entry level, and then we saw it start to recover. But if you can still find an entry close to this, maybe it's something to look at. It gives a stop loss at 0.8136, a take profit at 24 cents, 25 cents, 27 cents, and 29 cents. Context and broader sentiment, Dogecoin is currently consolidating in the 20 to 22 cent range, with 21 to 22 cents acting as critical support and resistance, respectively. A clean breakout above the 25 cent zone could pave the way toward higher targets like 40 cents. Analyst projections based on patterns like double bottoms suggest potential upside to 42 cents if that breakout occurs. So there you go. Guys, you can get that every day. All of that every day just by depositing $100 into your futures account. He says, I'm having spotty service. That's wild about Binance. If I had any BNB, I'd dump their token and see how they like it. Exactly, man. So yeah, and just by getting into Discord and signing up for BYDFi with our link, verifying it in the Discord, having at least $100 in your futures account, you can get all of these signals. Guys, people pay $100 a month for signals like this, and they don't even get specific levels. So, and they get levels, but they don't get, typically a YouTuber doesn't want to tell you like, hey, here's your stop loss exactly, or here's your entry exactly, right? They kind of want to say, hey, here's what I'm looking at, do what you want, at least this way the bot is telling you, so not financial advice, but the bot is aggregating this from top ROI traders. So I mean, it is worth considering. And I don't encourage that anyone make decisions solely based on this, but, incorporate it into your arsenal. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. So what I had said, let me go back to the Discord. What I had said earlier in the general chat was stochastic RSI is extremely oversold on the 4-hour, and hidden bullish divergence is still intact on the daily. So let's look at it. Better change my banner down here to charts and TA. And Bitcoin 4-hour. Guys, the stochastic RSI is extremely oversold on the 4-hour. Here it is down here at literally 0. Okay, it's not at 0, it's at 1. So I stand corrected. It is literally near 0 though. So guys, we have to be, the selling is getting exhausted. It has to be. There's some liquidity to grab down at 107.2. Not saying it can't go there, but man, the bears would be like gasping for air by the time they get there. On the 1-hour chart, we have RSI grinding down. right? But that 4 hour, like the stochastic RSI is literally down here at 0. Then we come to the daily, and look, the stochastic RSI is not high by any stretch of the imagination. It had just barely started to recover from under the dotted line. And, it does have this bullish divergence on the stochastic that is, that should still be continuing to play out, especially if we end today with a wick to the downside. And so on the daily, we have this hidden bullish divergence that's still intact. What is hidden bullish divergence? Hidden bullish divergence is a higher low on the price. So we have this low back here and a higher low up here. So it's a higher low on price action with a swing down on the RSI, the momentum oscillator. So what that shows you is that as the RSI continues to get more oversold, as the bears are starting, as the sellers are beginning to exhaust themselves more, the price is still making a higher low. And so hidden bullish divergence is a sign of a trend continuation. A trend continuation. Not to be confused with a trend continuation. But that's what this signals, is a trend continuation. Now, really, we would have a higher low, even coming down here to the 150 moving average at $105,900. That would still be a higher low, and this hidden bullish divergence would still be in play. I'd like it to hold up here, though. Obviously. And then lastly, I said in the Discord that we're generally looking strong on Ethereum. So what do I mean by that? I mean that stochastics are low on the daily, and the price earlier wicked off of this important green level that I drew up here. Why is it an important green level? Well, it's important because it constitutes a broader range on the weekly chart. So yeah, there's that, and it's wicking so far off of the point of control on the daily chart. The candle is still bodying above these levels right now. So that does look good for Ethereum, in my opinion. We come to the 4 hour, and like Bitcoin, the stochastic RSI is very low on. Why is Tyler calling me right now? No, your screen is still on Discord. Got you. Okay, I see it now, guys. Sorry about that. My screen was in fact still on Discord. Thank you for that. Anyways, let's see. Edwin Espinoza. Yes, I will. I'll look at ICP really quickly. Zeno, screen is still on Discord. Thank you, my guy. I'll repeat it real quick for us. Look, daily chart, 4 hour chart on Bitcoin, stochastic RSI is down here at 0. Okay. And on the daily, we have this hidden bullish divergence that I just talked about, right? A higher low on price with the RSI getting overextended. So there you go. Hidden bullish divergence, signs of a trend continuation. Ethereum. Thanks, bro. No problem. I'll get there in like 2 seconds. So, where the candle is bodying above the point of control and this green line of support. while stochastics are very low under the dotted line. Then we come to the 4-hour. And look, stochastics are extremely low on the 4-hour. And again, the price is, the candle is bodying above the point of control on the 4-hour. And so far, we seem to be bouncing above the 200 period moving average on the 4-hour chart. So generally, Ethereum looks strong right now. Let's take a look at ICP. And if this is your first time with us, smash the like button, hit the bell for notifications. We might not be the biggest, the best, or the brightest crypto community on YouTube, but we're definitely the most hydrated. And on the evening show, we showcase a different craft beer every night, which is why we call ourselves the Blockchain Brew. For the morning show, it's socially unacceptable for me to drink beer in the morning, so I usually have a monster, a white monster. I'll be switching to coffee soon because everybody jumped on my case yesterday for drinking monsters. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. ICP on me. That's an old BitBoy joke, just in case no one got that. Let's see here. Reset chart view. Okay, so on the daily, ICP falls into this category of coins, and I talked about this, several nights ago on our evening show. We go live every evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the weekends, we don't go at 7:30. We go once on Saturdays at some kind of sporadic time. It's, at some random time. Sundays, we go live for the weekly close. So there you go. But several nights ago, I said that ICP fell into a category of coins for me that have not broken above the 200 daily moving average, the red line. Okay, so there's a category of coins right now. Look, if you go to XRP, for example, well above the 200 moving average on the daily, and it's been above it for some time. Go to Ethereum, well above the 200 moving average on the daily. Go to Solana, well above the 200 moving average on the daily. You go to my favorite coin, Cardano, well above the 200 moving average on the daily. So, and look at how low the stochastics are getting on Cardano for the daily. I like to see it. So, because I need it to start moving back up. If Cardano doesn't do well in this market, I don't do well. That's how overexposed I am. So let's see here. So you kind of get the point that all of these major coins, why? Because liquidity flows, capital rotates from Bitcoin to Ethereum to large caps to mid caps to small caps. That capital rotation in the market has to run its course. So the phase that we're in right now is you're going to see the larger cap altcoins well above their 200 moving average on the daily. The graph is also on my watch list for some reason. Let's just check it out. Lo and behold, it's more of a mid-cap coin, and what you're going to find is that you'll find exceptions to what I'm saying for sure, but look, it's a mid-cap coin, and so I would guess that, and I would be right, that it's below the 200 moving average on the daily. You come to ICP, below the 200 moving average on the daily. So it falls into this category of coins that has not really seen its move yet, okay? Which does mean that, if you have conviction in the project, I think that there is really good tech. I think that the best thing about ICP used to be the prospect of Bitcoin DeFi, but they had some workarounds, for it. It was not a very seamless native integration like Cardano UTXO. I do think that Cardano has stolen the show of Bitcoin DeFi because they've already rolled it out. Big bag, bruh. If it don't do good, I don't do good. Of ICP, yeah. I hear you. I hear you. That's how I am with ADA. I do think that the best thing about, one of the best things about ICP was going to be Bitcoin DeFi. I don't think that they've completely lost that narrative, but I do believe that Cardano has sort of captured that narrative from them. Because there was a day when only ICP was talking about that sort of thing, but Cardano was just building it in the background. And then all of a sudden, look, Cardano showcased it at the Bitcoin conference this year. ICP didn't. So I do think Cardano has kind of stolen that show of Bitcoin DeFi from ICP. Not that they won't still do it, okay? Don't mishear me. I just think it's going to be much bigger on Cardano. That being said, ICP is one of those coins with instant settlement. It's very fast. And yeah, not a lot of marketing probably. Yeah, true. Then, man, the thing that ICP still has going for it in terms of tech narrative is it doesn't rely on Amazon web services for anything. And look, ICP has its place. I do believe it's going to do well, and I do believe you're going to do well. Below the 200 moving average, if you have conviction in it, then this is still a good place to continue to dollar cost average. I would not get into any leverage trades in it unless you have look, you can put in a 2x. You're not going to get liquidated at $2.40, I don't think, for ICP, but look, you're going to be waiting around for a larger move until it breaks the 200 moving average on the daily, and until we start to see this capital rotation from large caps to mid caps, in my opinion. 4-hour chart. The stochastics are flat. They're at 0 on the 4-hour. So, it's got to be time for a bounce coming soon. Precisely when, I can't tell you, but it's got to be coming soon. So there's a little bit for ICP. And Real Meta over here asked if we have any trading bonuses available. If you do want to trade, let's make sure I'm on the screen. We have over here on our Twitter, let's create an account on BYDeFi with our link. Get a $1,000 bonus when you deposit $5,000 worth of assets. No minimum trading required. Simply deposit and start trading with your bonus. So what you have here is you deposit $100, get a $60 bonus. That's a 60% bonus. You don't need to trade with your deposit. You don't need to meet a minimum volume. You simply deposit and you get your bonus. If you can't afford to be trading with your own capital, deposit your money. Once you get your bonus, withdraw it. Trade with your bonus. Deposit $500 worth of assets, get a $100 bonus. And deposit $1,000 worth of assets, get a $200 bonus. All of these, after the 60%, all of these higher ones are a 20% deposit bonus, which is very generous. Finally, deposit $5,000 worth of assets total. So it doesn't all have to be Tether. It could be a little Bitcoin, a little Tether, a little XRP. If your total deposits are greater than $5,000, then you get a $1,000 trading bonus. And if you're learning how to trade, just trade with your bonus and not your own capital. This event period is running through September 12th to sign up, and there you have it. You also get VIP level 2 with our link that gives you 20% discount on fees. So that about wraps it up for me today. We just hit the hour mark, and join us again this evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our evening show. Hop into Discord for updates. Be blessed. Cheers.